When is the pep rally? Okay, am I like a crackhead? Did we know about this? February 7th?
So Maria said.
Is it like the spring pep rally?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the.
Oh my God,
I like
2 weeks of working at conflicts.
I like the echo. Yeah, it's the echo that it.
Yeah.
You know what else is not beautiful in videos? The camera movie.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, the picture. It's so dark in here.
All right. So all that we're going to add to this today.
Doing better.
Okay. All we're going to add to what we did last time is we're going to add word problems. Okay. But as far as the math, you have your law of sines, law of cosines already. And so let's just get started with the first one. Okay, it says, according to a safety sticker on a 20-foot ladder, the distance from the bottom of the wall to the base of the ladder on which it leans should be a fourth of the length of the ladder. Then it says, if the ladder is in this position, what angle does it make with the ground? So let's start off by just drawing a picture. You're going to have a wall. And then you're going to have a ladder leaned up against the wall. And then it says the distance from the bottom of the ladder to the wall should be a fourth the length of the ladder. Now, if the ladder is 20 feet long, how far would that make this distance if it's supposed to be a fourth of that? Okay, good. And it does say that in parentheses, but 5 feet. Okay, then it says, what angle does the ladder make with the ground? So put your theta here. Okay, and this is what we're trying to find. Now, looking at your triangle, we are looking, in order to use law of sines, we have to have an angle and a side of the same letter for us to be able to solve. So let's go through and label our corners. Okay, let's say that our theta is corner A. That makes across from it little a. Remember we talked about that last time. Okay, then we'll call this corner B, which means that my 20 would be little b. Okay, then my last one here would be big C, which means that my 5 would be little c. All right, now taking a look at the sides of your triangle, okay, which letter do I know the angle and the side for? B, very good. Now, B doesn't have an angle degree here, but if this is a wall and this is the ground, we know this is a 90-degree angle. So if you want to put 90 degrees there, you can. Okay, but remember the little box, that means 90 as well. So let's set up our law of sines with the letter we have. We have both of the B's. So we're going to do sine 90 over 20. And then if we're trying to find capital A, we would have to know little a, but sad face, we don't have it. So instead, we'll find capital C because we have little c. So it would be sine big C over little c, which is 5. Okay, then from there, last time we learned we're going to cross multiply to solve. So I'll do sine 90 times 5. That'll just stay a sine 90 times, oh wait, no, that's the one we can multiply, sorry. We'll do 20 times sine C. Will stay 20 sine C. But then this diagonal we can put in the calculator. So in your calculator, what's the sine of 90 times by 5? 5 is correct. What is my next step? Divide the 20 out of the way. And then remember, I'm just going to leave that as a fraction. So now I have the sine of C is 5 over 20. And then how can I undo the sign using the calculator?
Inverse.
Inverse, very good. Or second sine. So in your calculator, find the second sine of 5/20. Like that. Okay, and we know that we got 14.4, so let's just round that to 14.5. And actually, so 1,000th degree, let's just do a whole number, since it's an angle. So I'm gonna put that C is 14 degrees. Okay. Now, quick question. See up here, it's not the angle that they were actually asking me about. They were asking me about this bottom angle, but can I find that bottom angle if I know these two? What do they all have to add up to? 180. So I'll do 180 minus the 90 degrees minus the 14, and then whatever's left over, that will be my angle theta that I actually care about. So 180 minus 90 minus 14, that gives me how many? Very good. Okay. Now, part B, I did kind of already scribble over it, but let's go ahead and do it and I'll write in different color. So it says, how high up the wall does the ladder reach? That's talking about side A. Okay, so I need to know corner A, but now I know how much is it? 76. So then I can set up another law of sines to find side A. So let's do it. I'm going to start with sine 90/20 equals. And then for my side A that I'm trying to find, little a goes on the bottom, which means sine big A would go on the top, which is 76. Okay, then remember from there, you're just going to cross multiply. So sine 90 times A is going to be sine 90A. 20 times 76 is going to give me 19.4. And then I'll divide that by 406. And then I'll divide that by the sine 90 on both sides. So that number divided by sine 90, it gives me 19.406. So that means that if this 20-foot ladder is leaned against the wall, it's going to hit the wall at like 19.5 feet off the ground. Okay. All right, let's run through another one. Take a look at number 2. Yes? That's a great question. So if you're curious, he said, why, when we divided it, did we get the actual exact same number? It's because the sine of 90 is actually 1. So anytime you divide by the sine of 90, the number will stay the same. You don't have to know that, but sine of 90 is exactly perfectly 1. So when you divide by it, it actually won't change your value. Okay. All right, take a look at number 2. We have a 58 and a 79 already in the picture for us. We want the distance from point P to the flagpole. So if P is here and Q is here, then what letter would I use to label that based on the rules that we did last time? If this is a capital Q, I know the hole punch kind of got it. What would that make this side? This is big Q. Across from it would be little q. Okay, then it does tell me in the question that 2 points P and Q are 140 feet apart. So I'm going to go ahead and include that in my picture as well. Okay, then looking at your triangle for law of sines, I have to know partners, capital and lowercase of the same letter. So in this case right now, do I have that? Let's call this F for flag. So if this is capital F, that means my 140 is little f. So right now, I don't have partners, but could I have partners? Remember that all three of these have to add to what? 180. And so if you ever have two angles, you really have all three. So in your calculator, do 180 minus the 58 and the 79. Whatever is left over will be capital F, and then I'll have a partner with my little f. So 180 minus 79 minus 58. That leaves me with how many left over for that corner? Very good, 43 is correct. And now that I have those partners, we can set up our log signs. Remember, you're always gonna start with the letter that you have both for. So that would be my sine 43 over my 140. And then on the other side, I'm gonna do the letter that I'm trying to solve for. So if I'm trying to solve for little q, then I need to match it up under big Q. So that would be sine of what? The 79 or the 58? 58. Okay, and then from there you can cross multiply. So sine 43 times Q is gonna stay sine 43 times Q. But then for this other diagonal, I can multiply that out in my calculator. So I'm gonna do 140 times the sine of 58. Got 118.727. And then for my last step, if Q is multiplied by sine 43, to get rid of that, we're gonna divide it out of the way. So divide sine 43 and sine 43. This number divides sine 43 gives me 174.087. 174.087. Any questions on that? All right. Well, is this not law of cosines and sines again? This is the exact same notes that we did last time, isn't it?
No notes. No notes. No more.
Okay, so it doesn't make sense for us to keep doing this. So pull out your computer and I'll work an angle of elevation and depression. That's what we're supposed to be covering. I don't know what happened here. I'll do one of each, and then probably you can finish the homework without one. Okay. Sorry about
I
that.
love it when you mess up.
Do you? Yes, I do.
Hey, don't worry, we learn from our mistakes, we go into.
You do. You learned that Miss Joyner is not trusted with copy and paste. Y'all, paper. Okay. Okay. There's one right there.
Thank you.
Anybody else want a blank paper?
Hey, what is this?
You forgot.
Yo, what is this?
Yes.
I. That's my, no.
I'm scared that my turn, my dad
Not me.
I could never forget you all over. Yes.
What are the scores here? They look,
It's like when I used to teach a tax class or STAR or whatever. it's called.
oh, so this is tax score. Tax?
And it was the worst. I hated teaching the class.
Is the score kind of good for?
I honestly don't know. Yeah, completely honest. Mike, here you go. Can y'all see your homework or is it locked?
No, it's long.
Okay. That's the one from last time. All right, let me unlock it for you.
Oh, what's about? About. No.
Yeah, it's actually very happy. There's actually no water doors. We find it that not
All right, it should be unlocked now.
There's definitely no water telling you. I swear that we had a debate with our director.
All right.
We literally have an hour to just go out to the it's the most iconic scene, but he wants to do something.
All right, so let's do this one. You should already know what an angle of elevation and an angle of depression is. But since I messed up your notes, I'll just help you with your homework. So it says, well, we'll do one of each. We'll do one elevation, one depression. Okay, so it says the angle of elevation from a tree nearby, from a point on the ground, is measured to be 52 degrees. Okay, so draw me a little tree. Okay, and then draw a nearby point on the ground. Okay, and all that an angle of elevation is you would start with a flat line. And then if you were looking at the tree, think about like how high you would have to tilt your head up. So this would be the angle that they're talking about. It would be called an angle of elevation. Okay, an angle of elevation would be how high you have to tilt up to be pointing. What do you need, honey? All I have is a napkin. Do you want that? Okay. So now label it with how big they say it is. So they say the angle is 52 degrees. I'm going to put that right here. And then it says, how tall is the tree if the point to the ground is 82 feet away? So this is 82. Now, the other thing that I do want to point out is just like on the question we worked, okay, if you have a tree or a building, it's going to be a 90-degree angle to the ground. So this is going to be 90 degrees here. We want to know how tall the tree is. So I'm going to call this X, which makes the corner across from it capital X. Because remember, they're always going to be across from their partner. Okay, then I'm going to call this side little y, which means that across from it would be big Y. And then the other side, I know this is capital, we'll say capital Z here, then that would make this little z. Now, if I care about how tall the tree is, which corner do I care about? Or which letter do I care about? X, Y, or Z? How tall the tree is. That would be X. And then I need a partner that I have both for. So is there a partner like that right now? Yeah. But I'm going to have to find Y. And how am I going to find that missing corner? 180 minus. Very good. So if I can find how many degrees are in this top corner, then I'll have Y partners. So do 180 minus.
Wait, have you got the 52?
It said it in the question.
This is why I hate word problems.
Okay, well. So 180 minus 90 minus 52 means that top corner is 38 degrees. And then now, like I said, we have those partners that we can set up sine 38 over 82 equals sine 52 over X. Okay, and then notice, yes? Yes? It's okay. I messed up the notes today, so we're just doing the first question on the homework. Okay, then from here, cross multiply, solve it, you should be able to do it. So sine 38 times X would just be sine 38 times X. The other diagonal, we are actually going to multiply out. So 82 times sine 52 gives me 64.617. And then what's my last step to solve? Divide that sine 38 across to the other side.
Okay, make sure you want to use that big long decimal all the way until the end when you're ready to round. So it says to the nearest hundredths, 100 has 2 zeros, that means 2 decimals. So if it's 104.95, and then it's followed by another 5, what's gonna happen to the 0.95? We'll round it to 0.96. Very good. So go ahead and type in your answer. It'd be 104.96. Okay.
Yeah, so you're literally on the first problem.
Yeah. Number 1.
4.9.
96. Because we had to round it. Okay. Then the next one we're going to do together. So that's how you do angles of elevation. Elevation, you're looking up from the line of sight. Now I want you to go down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the top. And this is an angle of depression. What 104.96 for the first one.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay, so it says from the observation deck of a skyscraper. So here's Shanice in her little skyscraper. Okay, it says she measures a 48-degree angle of depression to the ship harbor below. So here's the harbor. There's the ship. Boom. Okay, so Shanice is up here. But where's the ship? Way down there. An angle of depression is you're going to measure straight out from where Shanice is, and then you're going to measure down to her line of sight if she's trying to look at that boat. That's your angle of depression. Angle of depression, it says, is a 48-degree angle. Okay, then it says if the observation deck is 1,121 feet high, what is the horizontal distance from the base of the skyscraper out to the ship? So what I want you to do is let's label how high our girl is in the air. Okay, but rather than me labeling it here, I'm going to label it in the triangle here. So 1,121 feet. And then it says, what is the horizontal distance? Now think about if I want to know how long this is, but I want to use my triangle, then I'm going to label it up here. So I'm going to let that be mine. All right, let's label some stuff. If that's my X, that means this is capital X because they're across from each other. Let's say that my angle of depression is Y. Then that makes this little y. And then this is my third corner Z, which is my right angle. Then that makes this little z. Okay, and then out of my partners, I'm trying to find which one I have the big and the little for. None of them right now, but, or actually I do have partners. What are they? Which letter? In this case, we already have both of the Y's. There's your capital Y, there's your side Y. So we'll do sine 48 over 1,121. Okay, and then when I'm trying to match, I'm trying to find the horizontal distance. That would be my side X. Then I need to match it up underneath my capital X. But notice, I don't know capital X, but I could. What would I have to do? 180 minus. So we'll do 180 minus. That way we'll know what angle to put under X in the thing. So 180 minus 48 minus 90 means that would be 42 degrees down there. And then you'll put a sine 42 on top. Okay. And then from there, you're just cross multiplying just like we did last time. So sine 48 times X is sine 48X. 1121 times sine 42 gives me 750.095. And then divide your sine 48 across. So I got 1009.352. And then it says we're rounding to the hundredth again. So if it's a 0.35 followed by a 2, do I keep it or do I bump it up? Keep it or bump it up? Keep it. 0.35 would stay. So it'd be 1009.35. Okay. Do y'all feel like you can do this without? Sorry that your notes sucked and I messed them up. Okay. It's an angle of depression because it's my depression. I must have been. Okay. All right, do your best. If you need a picture or if you need help, just tell me and I'll come help you. Okay?